Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Sumana Kutoni and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Trudeau says passport delays are unacceptable, promises the government will step up. Canada's inflation rate now at 7.7%. Toronto's Taste of Danforth Festival cancelled for 2022. Pulewe pitches a pay-as-you-go law to rein in federal spending. Air miles hit turbulence after Sobeys and Safeway pull out of the program. Fuel prices likely to rise further, economist says, as peak travel season kicks off. BC man who had a rare neurological reaction to COVID vaccine awaiting decision on government support. Federal government freezing Hockey Canada funding. Matthew wins Hart as NHL's most valuable player.
So those were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is promising to do more to fix what he calls an unacceptable state of affairs at the country's passport offices that have been overwhelmed in recent days as thousands of Canadians scramble to get their hands on the necessary document before traveling abroad. Speaking to Awaz News, Trudeau said he understands there's a lot of anxiety among World B travelers right now. Pressed by the host Chris Hall to say why the situation is so tenuous when it's obvious to most observers that passport demand would spike with the lifting of COVID-related travel restriction, Trudeau said the government did hire more than 600 passport workers in January and they are prepared to hire even more to help chip away at the backlog. Canada's inflation rate rose at its fastest pace in almost 40 years in the year up to May as the price of just about everything continues to go up fast. Statistic Canada reported today that an uptick in the price of gasoline was a major factor causing the overall inflation rate to hit 7.7%. Gas prices rose by 12% in the month of May alone and are up by 48% compared to where they were a year ago. Food prices were also a major factor to the upside, with the grocery bills increasing by 9.7% over the past year. Within the food category, the cost of edible fat and the oil skyrocketed 30%, the fastest increase on record. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a major factor in that uptick, as Ukraine is one of the world's leading suppliers of sunflower oil and the war has caused shortages of the pantry staple. The Taste of Danforth has been called off. Despite 6 months of talks with the city to address logistical issues, organizers of the popular 3-night, 2-day festival said they just couldn't make it work and have decided to reimagine this year's event. The short timeline available to adapt the event to the changes in the street meant that Taste of Danforth in 2022 was too great at a risk of not being successful as in the past, Greektown on the Danforth Business Improvement Area said in a statement. Conservative leadership contender Pierre Poilievre said today if elected he would introduce new legislation that would force the federal government to offset every dollar of new spending with a cut to something else, a program he's calling a pay-as-you-go approach to budgeting. Poilievre's plan is to essentially cap federal spending so it doesn't go much higher than it is now. The legislation, if passed, would require the government to find money for new measures within the existing budget rather than increasing the debt and the taxes to cover new costs. The Conservative MP's campaign said there would be exemption for spending related to national emergencies like war, pandemic, and natural disaster. It also said spending increases that were previously budgeted, like the annual increase to the Canada Health Transfer and increases to the military spending, would be exempt. The long-running Air Mile reward system could be facing turbulence after the withdrawal of one of the only remaining national grocery chain from the program, says expert in Canadian loyalty point industry. In early June, Canadian grocer Empire Company Limited announced it will be switching loyalty program to Scene Plus, best known for its acceptance at the Canadian movie chain Cineplex. Empire owns Sobeys in addition to Safeway, Foodland, some IGA stores in Canada, Freshco, Needs, Thrifty Foods, Left Marches Tradition, Rachel Berry, and Lawton Drugs. The shift will occur between August 2022 and the first few months of 2023, with the Sobeys company taking 1/3 co-ownership of the Scene Plus alongside Cineplex and the Bank of Nova Scotia. It's a change to Canadian habit that could be difficult for Air Miles to recover from. according to industry watchers, after the years of shoppers pulling out of the familiar Blue Air Mile card at the stores such as Safeway and Sobeys. Soaring gas prices fueled the largest rise in the annual inflation rate in 4 decades last month, Statistic Canada says. In May, customers paid 48% more at the pump than a year earlier as a result of high crude oil prices, caused in turn by supply bottlenecks after Russia's invasion of Ukraine and a leap in demand prompted by eased COVID-19 restrictions. The price of the gasoline jumped 12% between April and May, the largest one-month price increase since January 2003. That surge helped propel last month's 34.8% rise in the energy prices year over year. The cost of consumer item as a whole rose 7.7% last month compared with a year ago. It's the largest increase since January 1983 when it gained 8.2%. Gas prices are expected to rise another 5% in June, projected by Bank of Montreal chief economist Douglas Porter. Nearly 1 year after Julian Schofield suffered a rare neurological condition that left him paralyzed from the waist down, the Summerland, British Columbia man is waiting for acknowledgement his injury was caused by COVID-19 vaccine. According to Schofield, his paralysis came over the course of few hours on July 25, 2021, just 12 days after he received his second dose of Pfizer vaccine. Schofield, 45, first noticed a tingling sensation in his left leg while he was out boating on an Okanagan lake with his family, he said. Rather than getting better, it actually progressed worse and went from being just in the left leg to the right leg as well. Hockey Canada's federal funding is being frozen in the wake of national organizations' handling of an alleged sexual assault and out-of-court settlement. Minister for Sport Pascal St-Onge said today that the Hockey Canada will only have funding restored once it discloses the recommendation of improvement provided by a third-party law firm hired to investigate the alleged incident 4 years ago. Hockey Canada must also become signatories to the Office of the Integrity Commissioner, a new government agency with the power to independently investigate abuse complaints and sanction inappropriate behavior. The move comes after Hockey Canada President Scott Smith and the outgoing CEO Tom Renney was grilled by MPs earlier this week during a standing committee on a Canadian heritage hearing into the organization's response to the alleged sexual assault involving 8 players. Hockey Canada quietly settled the lawsuit last month after a woman claimed she was assaulted by a member of the country's 2018 gold medal winning World Junior Hockey team in the June year at the Hockey Canada function in London, Ontario. The woman, now 24, was seeking $3.55 million in damages from Hockey Canada, the Canadian Hockey League, and the unnamed players. Details of the settlement have not been made public, but Smith said Monday no government or insurance money was used. Toronto's Austin Matthews won the Hart Trophy as the NHL's most valuable player last night, beating out Edmonton's Connor McDavid and Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers to win the award for the first time. Shesterkin claimed the Vezina Trophy as the league's top goaltender. Colorado's Cale Makar took the Norris Trophy presented to the league's best defenseman, and the Detroit's Morty Stater claimed the Calder Trophy as the top rookie.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Simone Kutoni, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.